Me welcoming you back to Crypto's Juiciest News. We've just received the big news that President Trump has pardoned Binance CZ. We're going to be speaking about stablecoin supercycle, Aave, President Winnie the Pooh, stablecoins all over. Peter Schiff, is he going to debate CZ? HyperLiquid, all of that coming your way and more, friends. The BTC price action is going to crank. We are getting closer and closer to a green candle. The BTC monthly candle, $114,000 is the key price. I wonder if we can do it. But right now, we're holding it around the 110,000. The volatility is very low for Bitcoin. Pretty much it's stabilizing around here. This is Ethereum's wedge. I show this all the time, just so we're all aware, to put everything into perspective as to what Ethereum is even looking like. It's supposed to be the harbinger of altcoins and alt season, right? We need the business cycle to crank up first. The ETH BTC ratio still acting like a bit of a poopy head hanging around here. Is it going to rotate all the way down and crush everybody? I don't know. You would kind of think, though, as we're moving towards month 36 in a row with business PMI lower, eventually something's going to have to give. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to go down to the short-term price action to show you what we're actually looking at, what we're smelling. This is Bitcoin's price action, friends, as you get to see. When we went up here, there was a giant scam manipulator. It was trying to do the whole strategy that they were doing back when me and Matt were trading Bitcoin, day trading it more aggressively back in 2018, 2019. They'd short the futures, and then they'll just send all the Bitcoin to one exchange. They'd send it to whatever it was, like Binance or Coinbase. They just send it there, and they just start market selling, and they would just like do it aggressive, bang, 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 and just to force it all down and just liquidate everybody. So you try to do it again, but like the moves that they can only move this stuff now, 5%. Yeah, Bitcoin used to have like, 10, 15, 20% moves. This is actually a giant move, by the way, for him to be able to do this still. 3%, 4%. So we're holding above this previous monthly level low. So this is pretty much it. Yes, it would be nice if we come and do that. Remember, we don't know what happens. No one knows what happens. It's just that if you are bullish, we're heading down to the middle of the range. Hopefully we get to attack something like the 118. You never know, friends. It might come out, screw around, and we're up later. Just to remind you as well, if you want to visualize on this chart something, if you look at the gold fractal, friends, appears to move Bitcoin up around mid-November. So let's say November 7th, around here, where we start going ballistic. So it is, maybe it is possible. We go up here, we screw around, come back down, we break up, we have a retest of like 118, and then we're like ready to go up into this middle of November period. Okay, that's the big explosive part if you were to just look at the fractals, which I have definitely shown you before. It is a bit concerning. We are running for the longest crypto cycle of all time. It's a very small candle for BTC. I wonder what it means for the future, because we've never been in this territory before. But also, we've never had volatility this low. We've never had activity this low, like activity healthy, but speculative activity. We've never had it this low as a percentage of everything out here. We've never had Bitcoin's dominance this high. It's been running on literally since forever. So there's a lot of first-time things happening out here. This is the Bitcoin weekly chart. Nice to see it's holding around here. I've drawn this little circle just so everyone gets an idea. Like, there's a lot of Jeets getting out here, friends. So don't forget this. Remember, friends, a lot of people, they sold, remember, around here as well. Do you remember the Japan Pokemon Island? They said it was pretty much all over. And then here they are. Trump to restart again. Remember I told you around Japan's yen explosion. I remember I specifically made videos. I go, look, guys, I'm depressed because remember we went below the weekly super trend. It was momentarily. I said, look, I don't think the bull market ends because Japan's Pokemon Island is closed for 3 hours while they clean the kids' vomit off one of the rides. I don't think the bull market's going to be done because of Japan. And that was it was tough to go with, but it was easy in terms of thinking conceptually, is our grand bull market going to end because of Japan, right? Ni hao to my Japanese baby dolls. And annyeonghaseyo to them too. So it didn't happen, all right? But this was a tough one, right? This one, it became tougher. This was President Pump, all right? President Pump, many people sold 33%. Uncle Bobby, Ivan, many other people sold 33% of the whole portfolio. They go, you know what? There's too much risky. Ben Copen as well was calling for much lower. All of them were calling for much lower. We started going up. They got the horns. Here we are again. Everyone's saying, you know what? Now this is the 4-year cycle FUD. It's like, hey, it's time, just 4-year cycle. Isn't it funny? That's the FUD. The FUD is, it's not like, oh, the economy's cracked or something's exploded. It's literally, oh, it's 4-year cycle time. We should get out. Right? It's 4-year cycle FUD. Wow, man. I mean, it's wild. What I've actually done now, I've just labeled them here. Japan's yen explosion, Trump tariff tantrum. We've got 4-year cycle FUD. And of course, I've got the rainbow flag for them as well, just to let them know. So, oh, I'm selling just because it's time to sell. Okay, dude. All right. All right. You know, you skip leg day, paint your own fingernails. I get it, dude. Okay, click sell and leave. Click sell and leave. So we'll see what happens after this point. I want to now give you a very special update, friends. I'll mention it to you again, don't worry, later on. But I've got a secret indicator that proves to me that the bull market is still on. Okay. Now, we'll speak a bit more about this later as well, but Trump pardoned Binance CZ, my friend, okay, who literally liquidated most of the industry for 20 billion. Okay, so Trump pardoned Binance CZ. After he did that, FTT token, this is FTX's token, spiked up. Okay, it spiked up. Now, I'm just telling you this, friends. I've been in markets for a long time. Like, I've been trading 14 years. I've seen literally everything. Okay, I know moods for buying, moods for selling. I know it up and down, friends. Just like a mechanic knows the inside of a car, just like somebody who makes orange juice knows how the machine sounds in the morning. Okay, this is bull market stuff. Okay, people buying Soy Bankman-Fried's lactating man boob token from a Ponzi token. Just because CZ gets pardoned, that doesn't happen in bear, man. No, that doesn't happen in a bear market. Okay, that's my secret indicator that this has happened. And by the way, this is a pretty strong token as well. I don't know why. this is you know, FTT is one of the secretly, look at this, friends. It recovered the whole China exchange cabal dump, and it's. I'm telling you, there's something weird going on with this coin. I'm telling you now. I won't be surprised if we all run it back turbo at the very end. Like, my dream would be, you know, besides EHEX mooning, is if FTT token somehow, if we can just, as an industry, find it in our hearts to create the most glorious pump and just resurrect this and just do something huge for it. Okay, because oh man, that'd be huge. This isn't the full history, by the way. That's the full history I'll show you. So if you could just run it back to 20 bucks, this would be one of the most hilarious things ever. Like I said, there's something weird going on with this coin. I'm just telling you, there's something weird going on with it. I don't know what it is, but it's very weird. So if you ever see something that this coin happens in the future, it's come from me. I'm just letting you know, okay? Remember, the Bitcoin dominance, friends, is still below the 10-period moving average. So if you go statistically, if you are long the Bitcoin dominance, right, you're missing out on big alt season when it's below the 10-period moving average. Very, very, very dangerous. Only when it crosses over, it's on the upside that you got to worry. But by the way, they can have fake outs as well. So all of that is in our favor. Now, what I'd like to do is, keeping it family friendly as well, I'm just going to show you gold right here. Gold has settled down. It's just hanging around in this little zone. Remember, this was the top, bang. I don't know if it's the top, down 9.49%. We've put it just on the weekly chart. This is like gold, absolutely euphoric, huge run, okay? Just hanging around here for Goldilocks. Is this enough for the rotation? Hopefully. We did see that nice spark up, which is met by a bit of rejection. Maybe people were like preempting it just too much, because I think that's what happened with Bitcoin's price action. We sent everybody the Bitcoin and gold rotation. It all became just a meme fast. So when gold started dropping, people started buying Bitcoin, and they were like, people just got in a bit too fast, and then they all got manipulated by that whale. Sometimes you just have to pay your price in time, and that's pretty much what we have to do, I think. So let's play some Pumpy G music. You and I now have to look at the US markets. Let's look at the racist Russell 2000. And I've got good news. Racist Russell 2000 has closed a day above its all-time high again. This is beautiful. It's back above it. Friends, look how much of a scam this thing has been doing. It goes up, fake out underneath. Goes up, fake out underneath. Goes up, fake out underneath. 3 times, bro. 1, 2, 3. No, 4 times. 4 times it dips back below the all-time high. Now it's on the 5th time. Can you freaking just stay up there and stop scamming us, you piece of crap? Hopefully this is it. Okay, remember the racist Russell 2000, 2,000 companies, It's like the small cappers of America. There's 2,000 companies. 1,000 of them don't make money. So it's a nice indicator. If it's breaking all-time highs, people are starting to speculate in the future. That's what a lot of people you might say, but Tommy, who on earth would ever buy an unprofitable company? Habibi. There's companies where they go, listen, we're not making money now, but AI is coming. It can help us. It's gonna turn give us ideas of how to increase our commodity efficiency or to make things better. They basically use technology to help each other. So how does the market reprice that? I mean, think about this as well, friends. If you're a company, let's say you sucked at television advertisements. Okay, let's say the models and actors you use for your television advertisements, let's say they got rounded elbows, but you wanted someone with sharp elbows like me, but you can't get to me because I don't watch TV in your neck of the woods. Let's say you live somewhere in Italy, right? You're an Italian company. So, but now you get the internet. Now you can market to the world. You see? See how that you're like, whoa, that changed. Okay, well, now we got to think. We don't know exactly how AI is going to change everything. We just know it's going to change something. The market doesn't know how much it's going to change it. That's what happens in the bull market. They get overly too optimistic about these things. It doesn't just go, oh, AI is going to kind of change the world. Let's walk away. What happens is big things keep happening. Ideas keep expanding. You have things like Palantir technology coming out, even though it's black box antichrist stuff. But it turns companies from losing money to making money. And everyone's like, oh my gosh, I just have to do this, right? And then, look, at the end of the day, I want to see a moment where everything in the stock market's so high. I want to be sitting there thinking, hey man, did anybody think imagine you had a robot powered skateboard to run the race for you in the Olympics. Okay, you're gonna win. All right, but what's gonna happen if all 13 runners, what if they all get the robot skateboard as well? Okay, you've just leveled out the playing field. Okay, I want AI and stocks to go so high where we have to have this discussion where people are so euphoric and I'm like, look, I know AI's changed the world, but remember, competition's still there. Everybody's getting access to the same information. So it's just, you see what I mean? We're not there yet. We're nowhere near there yet. No one's even having this conversation. I'm trying to think of this stuff of what it would be like in euphoria when people are saying, no, you don't get it. Everything's amazing. I'm like, Habibi, the same thing. You're no longer cheating with technology when everyone's using the same thing as you, right? So, but we're nowhere near there yet. Now, let's have a quick peek at PulseChain prices, which are literally still doing nothing, friends. Still doing nothing. Same as all the other altcoins out here. Nothing else really to report. We all know what we need now. We need Bitcoin and Ethereum to charge on higher because there's a lot of 4-year cycle FUD. We've got the Jeets out, and we've got to continue and push on through Floptober. Now, this is the Bitcoin, Gold, and M2 SL chart. I've got it right here so we can all see it. This is pretty much it. So, friends, I don't have an offset here for the gold price chart. Don't know how to use the offset, but you can imagine if you just offset this by 100 days, this up part is around here. It's literally mid-November, actually here, if I remember. So it's meant to be if you just start there, it goes like this. Okay, what I'm doing is mimicking that the gold price chart. It's around mid-November. So this is what I guess we're doing. Hopefully, that's what we're doing in this next part. We're gonna hang around some sort of channel, and we're ready to bust in mid-November, and then what? So look, even though this felt very scary, it's 4-year cycle fudders, I'm surprised the 4-year cycle fudders have given up right now already. It shows you how much of a weak hand they are, because what's going to happen if Bitcoin hits 145 at the end of the year, and then it comes back down to 125? Makes you think, are they going to be getting out? Because that's what we're all saying. Everybody, a lot of people bearish, a lot. However, a few of them are you know what? I'm very bearish. I've sold 30 to 70% of my portfolio, but I've still got a bit left in case there's an end of year run. Then I'm going to get out on that. So I don't know how it's going to conclude. It's going to be very interesting. Hopefully we don't get destroyed in the process. This is the S&P 500 still making all-time high strength. It's still hanging around the all-time high. A lot of people are calling this a double top thing out here. We'll see. Now let's crack on with the news. We have Trump pardoning Binance CZ, and then BNB token jumps 5% on the news. Do you remember a week ago I showed the Trump insider, Garrett Jin? He was the HyperLiquid whale. He put $60 million into HyperLiquid. He put a 10x short. He got $1.1 billion short on Bitcoin and Ethereum. He shorted up to 1 minute before Trump's announcement on the tweet that he's going to tax everything, and then he basically he made what is it, like $190 million. Now, there's a lot of other things floating around on Twitter that people are questioning stuff. People are saying, hey, did you know, friends? So Trump family, they were allowed to buy into Binance Exchange. Did you know that? Yeah, so Binance CZ holds like 2 billion of USD1. All right. So that's one interesting point. Number two, so people are wondering if did Trump family put on futures shorts on all the centralized exchanges, you know, as well as HyperLiquid. They definitely did that. They shorted everywhere. And you had the exchange cabal racket. Everybody gets liquidated, the Black Swan on October 10th. We're wondering if that was all insider play. Because it looks very sus. But what can we do? We can't do anything about it anyway. You know, friends, that's it. When you give your money to the house, like, you know what I mean? Like, can you prove a casino was cheating against you because of some card that came out, and you know statistically it's nearly impossible for those cards to come out for the dealer? You know what I mean? You just got to accept it. You got to learn from this, okay? Leverage, when you sign up to Leverage Exchange, guess what? 1 or 2% of people doing pretty good. What about the other 98%? They are food for the other 1 to 2%. President Trump said he's going to meet with President Winnie the Pooh, Jinping, next Thursday. So we might see even more volatility. Remember, there were remarks about, oh, tax up, tax down. I like honey. I don't like honey. Christopher Robbins, what's happening with him? You know, so Donald Trump's showing all these stuff and tweeting all these things. Maybe it's going to cause more volatility around the period. Coinbase CEO Brian Boldstrong says momentum for the crypto market structure legislation is at an all-time high. I sat down with Senate Democrats and Republicans who want to get this done. 90% there. Here is Mr. Brian Boldstrong. He is in Washington State. There he is out there. So it just, look, getting structure bills, it doesn't feel like that's the end, man. That's not what you see at the end. Oh, we're going to pass a structure bill. You know what I mean? A politician naming his son Ethan because he made a lot of money from Ethereum, that seems like top signal euphoria stuff. You know what I mean? But like boring government legislation, which is useful to just basically get passed in the background and just make it more accepted, that does not feel like that is it's time to end. Personally, that's my opinion. What's actually just popped up on my screen right now, friends, is a dormant address carrying 4,000 Bitcoin, 442 million, has been activated after 14.3 years. This is worth, I'm sure this is a typo. Wow. This was worth $67,000 in 2011, right? So here we have everybody questioning if it's Richard Hart and stuff around. Obviously, haven't seen the play. So that's a long time. That's a big hodl, man. That's a big hodl. Like, you got to remember, friends, that person had $67,000 at one point. At one point, it hit 10 million. You know, at one point, that Bitcoin was 10 million, right? So if you do 4,000 to BTC, right, is worth 440 million. Yeah. Think about actually the 67,000. First, they hit 1 million and he didn't get out. And you'd say, oh, you're greedy. You should get out, bro. You just made $1 million from internet Ponzi money. Didn't get out. Then it became 5 million. Didn't get out. 10 million. Didn't get out. Probably went to 10 million, back down to 2 million. Everyone's like, you're an idiot. You had 10 million. You should have gotten out. Everyone would have said that. Then it went to 15, 20, 25. Imagine you're like sitting on $30 million digital internet Ponzi money. Yeah. Everyone would be screaming, get out. Stop being greedy. It's worth 440 million right now. And if Bitcoin goes to 250K, he's got $1 billion. It's tough, man. It's tough because, you know, what do you do? Like, you got to, there's some greed there. There's like, you know, what about that sunk cost fallacy? He's like, oh, I've held too much. You know, when it went, friends, imagine Bitcoin went from 10 million on his P&L, then to 2 million, sat there for a year, and then it went to 0. You know, he'd be living with a lifetime of regret. He's like, damn it, man. I could have still taken that $2 million, but it went to 0 because of some inflation bug or whatever, right? Didn't happen though. It ended up working out great. This is the 4-year cycle halvening chart, friends. Check this out. Price after the halvenings. So I've seen one guy said, if you see this and say this is bull market, you are retardio, F you. So I think that's why, friends, look at this, man. Like, look, I think it's great that we are rinsing so many non-believers here, right? They're literally getting out here. They go, oh yeah, bull market, no parabola, you know, but by the way, this one looked truncated and stuff at the time as well. So that's going to be quite the pickle. Big news as well, friends. So Aave, which is the biggest DeFi money market in crypto, it's on Ethereum, right? Aave, it's one of the unicorns from last cycle. It went down 98.3%. Then it went up 2,000x from the bottom. 2,000x. I still remember, friends, Martini guy, he owned some Aave. He had to sell it because he got hacked at the end of 2018 or something. And he sold it. I'm not joking. He sold it for something like his final, I think, $200 or something. Or maybe it's 10 to 14 grand. I think he had to sell it. He got hacked and he had no money. He had to sell it. But he sold the low of that Aave. I still remember his story. And then it went up 2,000x. And yeah, it's worth 28 million if he just held. Yeah, and you didn't have to wait that long. You know what I mean? Got hacked in 2018. It was worth 28 million by 2021, 3 years. I mean, we've already been holding 4.5 years down. We've got nothing. Oh, man, these crazy stories, man. Crazy stories. It's absolutely insane. That's why I think about PulseChain, how far it can go up in the cycle with this like huge, weird interpol effect. Richard Hart, SEC, secret friends with CZ. It's a wild card, right? They'll all buy back in on the way up, don't worry. So Aave, friends, they announced their acquisition of Get Stable, strengthening its push to make on-chain finance mainstream. Get Stable. There you go again, friends. Stablecoin super cycle, right? Get Stable. So what Aave is doing, these DeFi money markets, remember, they are over-collateralized loans. So if you put in 10 grand, you can borrow like 2 grand. Okay? So you can like use your assets to borrow a bit of money. It's actually the most useful. You know what I mean? It's kind of like if you have Ethereum, you don't want to sell your ETH over time. So you borrow just a bit of it. You know what I mean? The problem is it gets dangerous over time because like no one knows how much is too much, because crypto can drop 95%. So if someone at the top, let's say they have, $1 million of a coin, they're like, oh, I'm only borrowing $80,000. Okay, but I've got $1 million in there. That's fine. But then crypto drops 95%, liquidates you. You lost everything. That's why it's right. That's why the people who do these, they're rich whales. When whales get rich, one of the things they do, let's say someone owns a hotel, they get units or something out here, they're borrowing on that. They don't sell the units. They don't sell the hotel. They get a bank loan for that. And they basically never have to sell, right? And that's how the rich stay richer. They don't get rid of their assets, okay? But Aave, friends, what they're doing is making on-chain finance mainstream. So the future of crypto and DeFi is we'll probably have institutions. They're going to put ID and reputation points probably in crypto, which is going to allow over-collateralized loans. So you can put in $100,000 and you can borrow $300,000, which is obviously super dangerous. What are you going to do with that money? But, this is for the future. It's when we're bringing on all on-chain stuff and, because people want to buy stuff across the state, That's just one example where you want to buy, let's say you live in Arizona and you want to buy a property in like Oklahoma, right? You know what I mean? So we can like help facilitate that. And that's just basically building the banking system in DeFi land. The US mortgage rates have dropped to 6.19%, the lowest in 2025. These are the US mortgage rates. This is basically, friends, it's very important to understand this. There's a saying in stock market TradFi boomerland. They say houses are the economy. Yeah, houses are the economy. So it actually is true. So retail, right? Retail, what we call retail mum and dad investors, they are psychologically affected by the valuation of their home. Yeah, they all know their value of their home. They all check it. And they love when prices go up. It makes them feel better to spend. And the US Fed knows this. Okay? So that's also why the mortgage rates were high. That's how they that's how they killed inflation in 2022. The mortgage rates were up, and basically everyone's like, see you later, house prices, you're gonna have to stall out, and then everything pretty much gets caned. So these mortgage rates are quite high now. 30 years, 6.19% for 30 year. I wonder if it will ever come back down here. These are still quiet. This is like a median level, but the interest rates were 0 around here. So any type of relief that they can get is better. All right, and we're going to have the FOMC in about 4 or 5 days, where Major Loser Power is going to cut rates. Trust Wallet have launched perpetual future swaps, Perps, offering access to 100 plus markets with up to 100x leverage powered by Astro Dex. So when we see perps, say perps, it's futures, okay? It's gambling, just leverage, okay? Leverage trading, okay? We're going to, it's crazy, man. So wallets everywhere are going to have perp trading. Bad idea. Very, very, very bad. Friends, do you want a slot machine in the waiting room, let's say at the hospital or at the doctor? You know, 30 minutes, you're like, you know what, I'll go have a slap. You know what I mean? You don't want that. See, at least with the slot machine, okay, maybe you can say, hey, you know, maximum $1 insert. When you're trading perps, there's nothing that says, hey, this is 100% of your portfolio. Yeah, there's nothing that says that. Maybe one day we do have to make rules for around that. But yeah, it's using Astro Dex. Friends, remember, Astro is Binance CZ's response to HyperLiquids. So there's going to be these Dex wars. So yeah, that's pretty much what it is. Yeah, I'm very excited, man. I really hope we bring the TradFi stuff on. That's going to be really cool. Can you imagine that, friend? Like, crypto's going to have a rebirthing of these, of trading and all these stuff out here, like from TradFi people coming in to come and punt stuff, and it's gonna make everything flare up more. So I would love to see them put like just some basic ETFs like the US bonds. Right now, all we can do is trade Pax Gold. I actually looked up. There is a Solana, I think, or there is one website. I asked ChatGPT. They actually have the boomer markets. They do. They've got like the top 50 US tech stocks, Tesla and stuff as well. They do have that, but it's limited hours. And of course, the liquidity is low. Like the whole exchange does $1 million. You know, it's very, 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 very thin, low liquidity. But I'm hoping that comes, man. That's going to be something special, because now we're going to have all the TradFi dudes looking at our prices on crypto while they are closed. You know, and that's all it takes is like a big move overnight when their things are closed for them to be like, oh my gosh, I got to have access to this stuff just in case. I've got to be watching it. That's what we want, you know? So right now we just have Pax Gold, PAXG, Pax Gold. That just tracks one-to-one the gold price. So we need ones for like, obviously the S&P 500, NASDAQ, probably the top 10 biggest US tech stocks, you know, Amazon, Tesla. We definitely need ones for maybe some commodities. I saw Ivan. It was funny. I was watching Ivan, friends, yesterday. Because Ivan doesn't know stuff. I used to trade this future stuff we all joke about now. So there's cattle, there's corn, there's different oil spreads and stuff out here. It's kind of funny, man. These are all TradFi boomer stuff out here. But he's kind of like laughing. He was like, hog. What's the hog? Yes, but this is before we gambled. These are actually used to hedge, because you're an actual farmer and you've got a delivery of like cattle it's going to be like ready in 6 months. So what they'll do is they'll sell the 6-month future of the cattle, because let's say the price was like, you know, $500 per cow or whatever. They'll be locking it in for 6 months because they're breeding them right now and they have a delivery to make in there if the price was high. So it was actually used back then, but now we don't care about the delivery. We just want to punt. So yeah, friends, we speculate on corn. Yeah, but the big commodities just come out like silver and stuff, and hopefully that changes the game. And it will bring us one step closer to the big crypto index. Uncle Peter Schiff has challenged Binance CZ to a debate on Bitcoin versus tokenized gold, and which better fulfills the functions of money. And Binance CZ agrees to the debate. So Uncle Peter Schiff, I watched his interview with the LA Vape Cabal. He made a joke here. He says, oh yeah, if you want a good return of 2x, you buy toothpaste for $5 because it's going to be $10 in like a couple of years, and then you made a 2x on that and you can actually use it. You know, it doesn't make you good money, but yeah, like it is, but you literally can do that if you really want to. So Binance CZ made a tweet. The reason why Peter Schiff he asked for that is what CZ says obviously is true. Tokenized gold, okay, it's never going to pick up. Why? Because you don't settle on the internet, okay? The gold sits in a warehouse which anybody can take at any time. It's not settling there. So Uncle Peter Schiff believes that it's kind of funny, like Uncle Peter Schiff, like he goes from saying, can't trust the government for anything. He says that, and then he says, I know what's a good idea. Let's put all the gold in a government-trusted warehouse, and then we'll trade tokens around the gold. You know, it just like, you're like, bro, we made Bitcoin because it settles on the internet through cryptography. Yeah, but obviously in his perspective, he's like, no, but the cryptography is worth nothing. But he doesn't get it because it's a network. All right? So that's what the whole debate's going to be. And remember, Peter Schiff's a better speaker, so maybe he'll be more colloquial and better about it in terms of like defending his point. But it doesn't really matter, friends. Just so you know, so tokenized gold, no one cares. Okay, no one cares because the gold's got to sit somewhere, dude. If you're just trading a token around, you can make a trade around there, anything. You know, why gold? Why not you be tokenized silver, tokenize everything? Yeah, and look, they will exist and there will be people using them. But I'm talking about as a massive payment system. It's not going to make people in crypto go like, you know what I need? I need to go hold some tokenized gold. You only do that for portfolio diversification purposes. And also payment purposes. You can do it for it as well. Because you'll be able to make it like super liquid and stuff out here. But it's not like it's going to be like, okay, there goes the crypto industry. Right? That won't happen. Stablecoins processed 46 trillion in transactions over the past year. Nearly 3x Visa's volume and closing in on the ACH network that powers US banking. Stablecoin supercycle. So we are seeing a continual theme of stablecoins, stablecoin adoption, more transactions. You got to remember as well, friends. So all the stablecoins, they're forced buyers of the US Treasury, which the US government loves. And we're going to give access. So we're going to give, like, crypto fans, it's going to make a lot of the world rich. It will. Because it's going to allow people in second and third world countries to invest without KYC. Imagine, friends, imagine you're living in somewhere in Africa, right, or somewhere in one of the second world Asian countries. Yeah, you now with crypto, you could literally just DCA buy your whole life into. You can put S&P 500. You can get some gold. You should be getting just crypto if you're going to hold for 10, 20, 30 years. Right? That's probably what most of them are going to do. And then they actually have removed the debasement damage from their own government and their own currency. Yeah? Everybody in Turkey, everyone in Argentina. This is the most powerful thing about it. It lets them finally save in something and you don't need KYC. That's the most beautiful part. Now, of course, there's going to be some hiccups and explosions along the way, but that's what allowed them to do. You know. However, there's a problem here, okay? If they're saving in crypto and US dollar, guess what's going to take the hit? Their national currency. The bid is going to get destroyed lower and lower. So America's going to be swallowing the world more. America's US dollar dominance. So we're probably going to see more currency capitulations and destruction in the future. So we'll see. HyperLiquid Strategies have filed an S1 with the corrupt SEC to raise up to $1 billion through 160 million share offering, with part of proceeds to be used for potential hype token purchases. So one of you baby dolls replied to me in Twitter. You go, Sammy, warning, there's a $1 billion raise here. Look, it's good for you to notice that. However, this is not public. Okay, and I made a video reply to that gentle sir. I went for a few minutes as well. That's what I like to do, friends, as well. You see me all over Twitter. I'll give like a randomly reply to someone. Like I'll do like a 6-minute video, like comment number 28 somewhere out here. So I do love and appreciate every single one of you. So it's good, right? You got that number. You're the numbers. So your head's fixed on that $1 billion number. But remember, it's $1 billion of public ICO money. Yeah, we're literally retail. Okay, we were the exit liquidity signal in PulseChain. Okay, PulseX raised 1.1 billion. Okay, hit the end, and PulseChain and PulseX. Okay, yeah. So Pump Fund did 600 million in 10 minutes. All right, maybe towards somewhere in the bull, later in the bull, there'll be. You know, I won't be surprised, friends, if we see 2 of them. Yeah, in this cycle, we see 2 $1 billion public ICO raises. You know, friends, I'm just warning you now because during that time, things happen so fast. And there's so much news and we're going to be so high on endorphins. The last thing I'm going to be doing is coming out and making 4 videos and 4 essays about how you're about to get wrecked doing the $1 billion ICO raise. You know, so I'll be just showing you, hey, the classic top secrets are here, but I'm not going to be spending too much time on it because you're basically talking to a brick wall. People have already put their money in, right? It's just like people telling us to sell the bottom of crypto here and be a Jeet like everybody else. You know, there's no point because everyone runs off emotions. Now, we'd all like to know, where are we going from here? BTC still stuck in the middle of this range. We're hoping that there is some sort of emphatic push which can move us up towards battling the 115 to 118 price level here. And around mid-November, hopefully, the gold friends did drop like 9.3% from that top, that's good enough. You know, that's as good as a settlement as we can get for it to stabilize and stuff go out here. I don't think gold's done. I hope it goes $5,000 or $6,000 because the higher price of gold, friends, it unlocks more money for total crypto. Yeah, it does. Yeah, the higher the price gold goes. So we should all cheer the price of gold. By the way, gold's gone. Literally, it went huge already. You know what I mean? It literally went turbo nuclear to the moon, which is great. And it raises crypto because now gold's 30 trillion. Yeah, think about all the money in there. People storing wealth in there, you know? When people store wealth in gold, there are alternative things like network effects, you know? Like people store wealth in the S&P 500, right? S&P 500 has stuff like Amazon, Netflix, Google, right? Tim Crapple's company, Crapple, right? They are networks, global networks. Okay, so these are like alternatives to gold. That's what Uncle Peter Schiff would say, but you and I would say they're just more pumpamental up only. Like, subscribe, belly button, all. Catch you in the next one.